The name of this show is Living Wisdom, and I'm Patty Paul. Today, once again, I have my friend Tom Stamatelos as a guest, and Tom will be channeling a being friend by the name of Rowazas. So welcome to the show, Tom.
Thank you.
And let's get started right away with you beginning your channeling process and bring Rowazas in. And while Tom begins that, the credits will roll, and Rowazas will be with us shortly when the credits are finished.
Yes.
Oh, welcome. Welcome again, Rowazas.
Thank you for inviting us, for being with us again this day.
I enjoyed the last show so much and look forward again to your comments, your insights, your wisdom on issues that are important to all of us human beings, all of us spiritual beings inhabiting this wonderful blue planet Earth. What I'd like you to perhaps talk about in the context of how each of us creates our own reality, how the people in our lives, the people we encounter, are reflections back to us about ourselves. Well, I'll throw that ball out there and let you play with it.
Yes. There is no one else out there. That is true. And there are others. And both statements are absolutely true. This is a paradox which you may play with. And we would invite you to not seriously work at it, but to play. To allow the self which you know, that personality which you generally consider yourselves to be, to sit with the idea that there is no one else and there are others. As you consider that, you take the focus, that pinpoint focus of a personhood, back up into the greater being of self. As that happens, you receive and recognize greater illumination regarding your personhood and your being of self within a world of apparencies.
Apparencies, did you say?
Yes. Your system appears to have one moment following another moment following another moment, to have objects which are solid, to have persons which are unchanging, to have events over which you seem to have little control. We would encourage you in the idea that you do create, that you do form the reality through those 7 considerations which we spoke of. Your system of belief, your thoughts and feelings, the outside of which are emotions, the mental images which play within what you consider the mind's eye, the attitude, the choices and decisions that you make. That all time is now. and that from each moment you create a future and a scenery called the past, and that you can consciously begin creating a more enjoyable being, as you two have done and continue to do. That you are not at the mercy of your childhood beliefs, although it may seem to be. That you are not at the mercy of a self which you oftentimes objectify, as though the self, as though the whole self were an object separate from you, but possibly connected. Consider instead the idea of self as a context of consciousness. A context which becomes aware and then works in the growth of that context through the portions which you consider as your life and other lives, other existences you consider to be past or future. All existences are now. And you communicate continually with each other a person and each other life in order to grow, in order that the one may more fully realize itself. That one we refer to as all that is, and that there is no difference. There is no difference between you and us. There is no difference between us, you, and the plant. There is no difference between us, you, the plant, and the events which have transpired to each of you throughout this day. There is only the context in which others, the self, and the objects and events of your world of apparencies hold. And the boundaries of these contexts are ever growing, ever expanding. As you grow, as you expand, so greater than is the whole self, so greater than is all that is. In your unending knowing of self, in your unending creation of your being and of self. Please.
That's very helpful. I'd like to ask your insight on kind of shifting gears to a more personal situation for me, because as I become more and more responsible about creating my reality, about seeing other people as reflections of parts of myself,
Yes.
as I grow more compassionate and loving towards others and towards myself, I feel the changes. But there is kind of a paradox that comes up for me once in a while, and one recently came up, and I'd like to ask you to help me see my way through this.
Please.
I recently met a man who, upon getting to know him a bit, learned what a courageous, honest person he is, how much integrity he has, how responsible he has been and is in certain ways, and yet a part of him very much emotionally coming from the child and adolescent, especially in relationships with women. So I have seen, okay, he's reflecting back to me those parts of me that perhaps I need to process and let go of and see why I've created this. But let's see, how can I say this? There's part of me that understands important to have humility, to let this person be different from those other men in my past who had some of the same similar energies. And yet there's a part of him that seems like it's so stuck in the child adolescent that it won't change. Anyway, that's kind of not very clear, but maybe you can make some sense of what I'm getting at here.
Actually, it is quite clear.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. As you work with the objective reality, it seems to each of you that you need to move the objects of the reality around. It is much like playing with shadow puppets on a wall. And as you try to move that shadow, you find yourselves ineffective, or at least at a point of frustration with that. In this instance, you must change, as in all instances, the interior reality, which then casts a new reflection against the wall of your apparent reality. For these times, consider with another person that area which you find to be less than enjoyable. Allow yourself to write down your ideas about that. All men are this way, all women are this way, some men are this way, men who have this are this way, women who have this are this way. And consider that those are the precepts, the laws which you have decided upon. Now, that may or may not become apparent very rapidly. It is quite possible that you will find that belief which has become invisible, then allowing a reality rather than a conscious creation of reality. So start with the thought-feeling group. You may notice that as thoughts appear, a specific feeling, the outside of which is your emotion, appears with it. They are not what you are. They are your creations. As you become attached, replacing the self with a thought-feeling group, or as you become attached to any object or a person or event within your reality, so then you lose responsibility.
Okay, when you say attached, please explain that.
Attachment is to replace the self with something from the self. Your thoughts and feelings are not what you are. They are your thoughts and your feelings. But often they take on such a great import, such horrendous, massive condition that you have replaced the self with that thought-feeling group. You may become attached to sadness. You may become attached to, now we know none of you would do this, to anger. In which case you will say, I am angry, not I am with anger, or not I am having anger, or I have anger, which gives you a little distance upon that feeling. But I am angry. Well, we would say that in that instance, the anger has become what you consider yourself to be.
That's a good point. I never looked at that.
It is to then remove yourself and allow that feeling, which is not wrong, which is not bad, its expression. By expression, we do not mean demonstration. If you have anger, it is not appropriate to demonstrate anger by violating another or a being. Expression, to allow the passing through. To allow the passing through of that thought-feeling group. Then, as that thought-feeling group is recognized, send it love and release it. Send it love and release it. To become angry at a thought-feeling group is to give it greater energy. Love changes everything, and it changes it instantaneously. You may wish to see love as a golden light coming in through the skin, breathing it in to surround the heart, the lungs, to fill the body, to fill the being. And then sending that love to that thought-feeling group, to that person, to that identity of personality for which you do not care. Loving something and allowing it to be loved can release it. To hold anger or its higher declension of hatred, which demands vengeance, the difference there, is to hold it near, is to feed it an energy which will not allow its change, which will not allow that humility, allowing each moment to be different, allowing each person to then become a different person due to your holding that idea, that belief, that precept which allows thought, feeling, and mental image, then affecting the complex to include your attitude, your choices, and your decisions. The decision that no matter what I seem to be doing, he remains the same. A new belief. That belief then blocking the ability to have change within the area you wish change. And in the idea of responsibility, responsibility does not include blame, does not include wrongdoing. Those are judgments which act as a subject-object. This is good, this is bad, this is wrong, this is right. They simply are. To forgive yourself for having the original precepts and for building precepts around them. Now, as you find that original precept, that original belief which has been held, first look at what you believe about beliefs. If you believe that they are buried, very difficult to find, require intensive undercover studies, then so they will be. If you believe that they float easily into the conscious awareness, then so they will be. As that one is replaced with a more empowering belief, all of the other beliefs which cling to it The belief that no matter what you do, I can't change this, has nothing left to cling to, and it falls away as well. Finding that a precept, noting the thought-feeling group, noting the idea. As the thought-feeling group comes in, do this. Use the popular term cancel. Cancel. Send the thought-feeling group love and release it. Then consciously use a different precept, one that now you adopt. And you may, according to your system of belief, wish to find the old precept, find where in your childhood or adolescence this precept was instilled, or you may wish to simply allow the change. Neither way is right, neither way is wrong. It is simply the way you are doing it at this instance. Insert the new belief, consciously generate the thought, consciously generate the emotion, and consciously generate the mental image. Allow this a little time. In your system, those beliefs, if held with intensity, hold an electromagnetic reality. And they form your magnetism of drawing persons who behave in this fashion into your experience.
Yes.
As that changes, there may be a little lag time. And you may become frustrated. We would encourage you not to. However, you may do it as you see fit. Between a change in self and the alteration of your world of apparencies. Allow that to be. When you find that original belief, that original precept, it can become quite easy. Until then, just using the idea and the thought feeling to replace those will lead you to that belief. Mm-hmm. It will lead you to a different shadow show upon your wall. Have patience with yourself. Love yourself. As you love yourself, so then you can have a greater love for those creations, those allowances within your own system. So, pen and paper, finding the belief, that precept, which will be a simple statement. It need not be a paragraph. All men are this kind of man is this, I only meet men that do this. Women, on the other hand, I only meet women who, all women are. And you may wish to find the origin of that. It is not in all cases necessary to change that statement to an empowering statement. From that statement, you have no power, no ability of effective action, because that statement will make it true. Mm-hmm. As you consider the thought-feeling group, which may have some, as it were, momentum within your system, as the idea with the mental image is there, catch it, cancel it, send it love, and release it.
I like that.
Insert the empowering precept, the law, which you will now then recognize. Think the thought which would be empowering. You may wish to use it as a statement of a positive affirmation to generate with it the feeling, the emotion to send into your shadow show, and the mental image which you find to invest you with power, the power that is yours, the power that has always been yours, and in this case, with responsibility. The ability to respond as you choose and not a knee-jerk reaction. Becoming aware as you have is the very first step. Congratulations. You are
Well,
doing
thank you.
well.
Thank you so much. I see we're just about out of time. We have 1 minute. Is there a final statement you'd like to make?
Each of you is loved. Loved beyond your capacity to presently comprehend. Each of you creates, or in the case of a non-awareness, allows a reality of your own. Not always your own choosing, but your own creation. You are not at the mercy of a past. You are not at the mercy of thoughts and feelings which overwhelm you. You are loved. You are love. And now, with our love, and certainly with our very greatest respect, we will, for this time, bid adieu.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the audience for your attention today. You've been watching the show Living Wisdom, and this is Patty Paul saying goodbye until the next time.